Aries ascendant. For Aries, Mars rules your ascendant and your 8th house, and this Mars is going in the 10th house. And not only the Mars is getting exalted, but it is also getting the directional strength. Mars is also getting the strength of Saturn here, and initially when Mars will enter on 5th of February, it will also encounter Sun in Capricorn. So first there will be Sun and Mars conjunction. Soon Sun will enter Aquarius zodiac sign, and Mars will also see Saturn getting combust. Now combine all this, and this shows that you will feel enthusiastic, things will progress in your career, you will move fast, you will be able to achieve a lot of things. But parallel to that, you might also experience delays, obstacles. You might also experience that you are not able to take control of the situation. Although you will assume that you are in control, but in reality you will constantly have to fix. So a lot of runtime fixes will be necessary in your life, especially in your career. Anger should be completely avoided during this time. It is an enthusiastic transit. It's a transit where you will be able to achieve a lot of things, but you will have to show responsibility. Showing authority will not work at this point of time. You will be able to achieve good things in your business, but be it your business or be it your job, discipline will be absolutely mandatory during this time if you really want some productive time out of this Martian transit. Now, while Mars is in Capricorn, it will aspect your ascendant. Your ascendant has positive Jupiter, and in fact Jupiter will be in Bharani Nakshatra. So it's highly creative time. It's a time where energies are really dominating, and you can actually figure out a new way. It will give you a new lease of life. Anything that needs a lot of hard work, proper planning, anything that needs changes will happen during this time. So it will obviously need your time, effort, your conscious energy transfer to your career and work area, as well as your hard work will be in such a way that you will not get time to enjoy the family life. So it's more like a busy transit. It is a good thing, but you need to maintain the family and work time balance, because Mars 8th aspect on the 5th house shows that you may not be able to give too much of time to your children, or you will not be able to focus on one thing properly. You have too many things to do, too many things to achieve, or maybe success is coming at a pace that you can't handle. So be mindful of that. Because from relationship perspective, this can be a time where your interests and your spouse's interests or your partner's interest can have a conflict. There can be a point of view difference. Why? Because Mars 7th aspect falls on the 4th house, 8th aspect falls on the 5th house. Which means that on one side you would want things to go your way, and when it does not go your way, you might feel frustrated and your partner may bring a different perspective. Now this change of perspective may not be easy to accommodate. You may not be in a position to be flexible enough, and that is where all the chaos will be. So if you are flexible, if you are adaptive, then this is a perfect time. It's a great transit for you. Health wise, this is a good time. Just ensure that the burnout should not affect your health. So don't overwork, don't overdo anything. And if you are hitting the gym, if you are an athlete, if you are doing things aggressively, ensure that it is well within your capacity. See, if you do not respect your limit, this can cause accidents and some mishaps. So be mindful there. Otherwise, it's a very good transit. It promises a lot. It shows growth, it shows success, provided you are following that I will say that copybook style of being within the limit, following the path of Saturn. Because the landlord of Mars is getting combust for the entire duration of Mars transit in Capricorn. That means the cognizance of or the assumption of power is flawed. So if you feel too powerful, I will say recheck. Taurus. Now for Taurus, Mars rules your 12th house and 7th house. It rules foreign lands, it rules your marriage, it rules any communication that happens through over a long distance. It is also the planet that can bring isolation in your life, and that planet is exalted in the 9th house, which means you will love to enjoy your own company. But you need to make sure that you're not feeling depressed. You should always feel optimistic. So do things that favor your passion, that is according to your basic nature, and if possible, travel. See, when 12th Lord is in 9th house, it will initiate travel. So anyone who is interested in travel related stuff, who wants to go to a foreign country, who wants to go to a foreign country for career, education, who wants to relocate, it's a great time. But remember that Saturn is combust. Now add that element to Mars exaltation, you might make travel plans that can create extra expenses. You might overlook the need of your partner. You might overlook your career and work related commitments, but you would want to, go for some leisure trips just to shed off the load. On the other hand, from the perspective of career, this is going to be a very good transit. You will get guidance, you will get people who will support you, but for that you need to be a student. The moment you try to become master is when the problem will start. See, from 13th February, Sun and Saturn will be together in the sign of Aquarius, whereas Mars and Venus will be in Capricorn. That means on one side there is passion, there has to be a passion to learn, but Sun and Saturn in the 10th house shows that you have to also respect the power, authority and know your limitation. People who want to pitch forward their candidature for promotion, good time. If you have visa related issue, this will be resolved during this time. There is a very high possibility. Your communication will be effective. People will like your presence, your aura, your personality will be really good, and it's a great time to and a great transit to spend quality time with your life partner. Do things that you like, follow your passion, listen to some good music, and bring creativity in your life. Expenses will be a little on the higher side. If you are already facing medical expenses, then you need to control your other expenses while Mars is in the 9th house. On the other hand, it's actually a ray of hope. It's a ray of hope because this transit will give you some surprising events that will obviously make you happy. But as I said, it will come at a cost. The cost should be that you are rejecting all the negative things in your life, you're rejecting all the negative possibilities, you're rejecting all the negative energy and going towards healing, upgradation. People who want to pursue higher education, it's a very good time, especially in the field of engineering, aeronautics, robotics, niche skills, you can pursue that. For people who are aged, who are elderly, you should be careful about your lower back problems related to thighs and hips. So don't overdo anything, don't lift heavy weights during this time. Now for people who are looking for marriage, we'll see something positive going your way. Maybe you will meet your life partner, but be very careful while you're dating someone because that can, bring some heartbreaks. After all, this is a time where you will enjoy, but you should also know that you will also face the truth. So if you're practical and grounded, it's a great transit. But if you're too much on the utopian side, if you're living in a very fantasy island, then this is going to be a very tough time because initially Mars will fill you with energy and then suddenly Sun and Saturn conjunction will give you the reality. And that may be hard to digest, that may be hard to compute. So it is better that if you are moving slowly and steadily, you will become successful. With respect to investment, there can be a change of home, you can buy a property, but while you are driving, be careful. Do not buy two-wheelers or anything that is where you can be at risk. And if you're driving, drive carefully. Do not drive out of passion, because city roads are not made for passionate driving, because the chance of accidents can increase during this time. Do regular exercise, follow the path of yoga, especially if you can, follow the path of Hatha Yoga. Overall, this is going to be a very good transit. It's going to be a transit where you will also meet people who are living at a long distance. Maybe a long lost forgotten friend will connect with you. All that is possible while Mars is in Capricorn. This is the time to take control of the losses. So if you are planning right, you will be seeing that over a period of next 6 months, most of your losses will be cut. And if you want to do a hierarchical change in the company, if you are the owner of the company, if you're an entrepreneur, if you have startups, this is the time. Gemini. Now in case of Gemini, if you observe, Mars will be in your 8th house, and because Mars is in the 8th house and Mars rules your 6th house, it's a Viparit Raj Yoga, which means this is if you follow the right lifestyle, if you are following the right diet, if you are giving enough time to your body to recover, this is going to bring a change in your health. It's a big lifestyle change that will happen during this time. Your hurdles will become like a motivator for you. Failures are the pillar of success. This transit identifies with that. On the other hand, if you observe, Mars also rules your 11th house. And 11th Lord is in the 8th house. What does this signify? This signifies change of income. This signifies both change in your social circle and also certain setbacks. That means someone whom you really trusted and whom you were going to rely in the near future might betray you, or you might get to know something about that person. Now, initially it might feel really bad, but imagine what damage it could have caused if you would have actually been dependent on that person in the time of need. So if you are seeing changes in your social circle, if you are seeing changes in your friendship, in your colleagues, your relation with them, I will say go with the flow. Try to be as positive and as inclusive as you can be, and try to avoid any unnecessary confrontation, unnecessary fights. On the other hand, Mars will be in the 8th house along with Venus. This might create investments. So suddenly you might have this financial need to invest a lot of money. And when you talk about investment, you're talking about locking the money somewhere. That means to your bank account, it's like an expense. Now, what is significant here is that if you observe the position of Venus, Venus is your 12th Lord. That is also going to be in the 8th house. So there is a double Viparit Raj Yoga. So this is a time when if you are in a difficult situation, you can immediately bounce back, because that's how the planets are placed. Jupiter will be aspecting your 3rd house and the 7th house. Therefore, this is also going to fulfill your wishes. But now you observe the position of Saturn. Your 8th Lord is combust, which means if you are over enthusiastic, if you are taking drastic decisions, especially the ones that are financial in nature, if you really want to change your career but you don't know what to do, how to do, you're just jumping into conclusion or maybe just barging in and resigning, then there can be problems, because then you are creating an adverse situation. What can be the positive outcome? Viparit Raj Yoga out of an adverse situation created by you? A lesson. So try not to create an adverse situation. That is why already there are too many variables and unpredictable situations in life. And in that case, you should not introduce any further variable. In case you are in problem, you can consult an astrologer to understand next steps. What should you do? What should you avoid? On a very generic sense, you should avoid any major investments without checking your horoscope. Going into new partnerships, breaking old partnerships without giving it a thought or without proper planning, fighting with your in-laws. If there is some family trouble in your spouses, in the case of your spouse, you should be available there. Great time to start a new business with your wife or a husband. But you need to show restraint. Why? Because this is a change sometimes you will take out of frustration, the sheer frustration. Why? Because Mars 8th aspect falls on your 3rd house. Either this Mars will take you to a state where you have never been in a positive sense, or you will destroy everything that you have built. Don't do that. Don't do that out of frustration, out of anger. Especially people with weak or afflicted moon, and if you are a Gemini ascendant or moon sign, you should be very careful with this Mars transit. This Mars can give sudden losses also. It's better to be proactive, not hyperactive. Also, this is going to be a time where you will have to be very careful about being, when you are too harsh on yourself, both physically and mentally. The only problem is that the stress which is kind of increased during this time, because you want to take control, that will translate into communication, and your communication can break relations, especially in the matters of husband and wife. So be very, very mindful of how you communicate yourself. Now, because Sun and Saturn will be in the 9th house, being humble is the best advice that I can give. Chanting Hanuman Chalisa and chanting Panchmukhi Hanuman Kavach, or doing Hanuman Puja in your home, is one of the remedies which you can do. And on a very practical note, bring a change, but evaluate the cost of it. Cancer Ascendant. Now for Cancer Ascendant, Mars rules your 5th house, and Mars is not only the ruler of your romance, your expression, your Purva Punya, but it is also the ruler of your career, karma, the 10th house. Now, the good thing is that the 10th house is Jupiter in Bharani Nakshatra. So, a lot of problems related to career will be handled through wisdom. But if you avoid that wisdom, in spite of knowing everything, you are eager to take a call, you are eager to take revenge, you are eager to prove a point, then there will be disaster. Because Mars is in the 7th house aspecting the Lagna. Now, do not underestimate your enemy, because then you might fall short and you might put yourself into some difficult situation. Legal issues may arise in certain cases, especially if you are into business. If you are dealing with risky investments, you have to be very mindful and very careful there. A 7th house exalt Mars along with Venus may also ensure that you try to be more creative in your work. You will have social media presence. You will be able to fine tune and bring finesse in your work ethics. You will fine tune all the paperwork that you are handling right now. Also, for people who are involved into architects who are involved in the interior designing, Vastu, will see great business boost during this time. But one thing is for sure, see, 7th house is not a house of domination. 7th house is the house of equilibrium. And Mars wants to dominate through Capricorn. That won't happen. So Mars might get frustrated, because in spite of all the energy, authority and power, you won't be able to exercise it. That means there are certain resistances coming your way. There are certain situations where you want to execute but you can't. Which means that you need to show patience. You need to be very careful when you are speaking something. Verbally, you will have to be very polite, and your approach should be very careful, very casual, laid back approach, or very taken for granted approach will irritate you a lot. This is a time to establish new relationship in your business. This will make you very disciplined. This will create a circumstance where you will feel ambitious and you will want to achieve a lot of things. But remember, this is the time to handshake, to come into a truce, to work with a team and build yourself for the future. But if you want an immediate result, Mars may cause problem. Mars aspects the 10th house and there is Jupiter. Henceforth, follow the path of Jupiterian wisdom. Read scriptures, read Bhagavad Gita and try to draw learnings and teachings from our ancient scriptures. From the relationship perspective, a 7th house Mars is not good. Not only it is finding itself in a position where it is rendered kind of useless with so much of power and nothing to do, this might create a professional and personal imbalance. You have to take your partner's aspirations, their career, their choices into consideration. Well, if you're planning to get married during this time, or if you are going ahead with the marriage thing, you need to be careful. So watch if the horoscope matches and go with a detailed planning, because over enthusiastic response can meet with difficult times in the future. Mars in the 7th house will have a negative aspect on your 2nd house, which means there can be fight in the family. Maybe you are too arrogant, you are too stubborn on something, and nobody is supporting you, and you would love to walk alone. Mars in the 7th house, and this position of Mars loves to walk alone and prove a point, and that is exactly what you should not do. Remember, Mars will draw its resources. Even if a soldier, imagine there is a soldier fighting in the battlefield, where will the arsenal come from? Where will the weapons come from? From the resource pile, right? If the resource pile is controlled by Saturn with a negative sun, then you are only going to find a junkyard of resource pile which is of no use. So do not put yourself into a situation where planets make you useless. If you are working in a team, if you are approaching things with harmony, if you are trying to maintain that relationship and your energy is better utilized in establishing and maintaining the status quo, maintaining the relationship rather than dominating, then it's going to be a very good transit. It's a kind of a team building transit. But on the other hand, your anger, your frustration can hurt your health, especially if you are born with afflicted moon. Emotionally, it can be challenging. You might express yourself through harsh words. You might get to hear truth about yourself and your personality. Little bit of acceptance is needed and lot of grounding is needed during this time. From the health perspective, avoid extra expenses. Try to secure your health. Lust might increase, so practice brahmacharya if possible. Practice a lot of meditation and hatha yoga. Now, one of the better ways to handle the transit is to work in a community, serve food, serve for people, and if you and your spouse, if you are married, can together do something, even if you are an elderly, if you can just do a puja together, sitting at your home and pray to Bhagwan Hanuman or Ganpati, it will be a great exercise. This can make you, on the other hand, feel fearless, which is very good, because it will repair your Mooladhara chakra. So if you have a problem in the Mooladhara chakra, means if you feel too insecure, if you feel too claustrophobic, then this can help you fight your fears. But for that, for everything, Jupiterian blessing is needed. And Jupiterian blessing says, be inclusive and follow the path of love, light and harmony. Leo Ascendant. Now in case of Leo Ascendant, if you observe, Mars is a very crucial planet. Mars rules your 9th house, Mars rules your 4th house. Now, when such a planet that rules one Kendra and one Trikona, that means one central house, one trinal house, goes into Trikbhav, 6, 8 or 12. In this time, Mars goes in the 6th house for Leo Ascendant natives. Generally, such a planet will encounter difficulties, challenges, problems, and such a planet will start giving negative results. But when we are dealing with planet like Mars, which is brute strength, power, willpower, force, power to win, and when it goes in the 6th house, it starts giving you positive results. This means if you are facing any challenges related to your 9th house, that means if you are facing challenges related to speculative income, education, engineering, manufacturing, if you are facing problems related to your storehouse, warehouse, through your home, if you are facing problems related to your vehicle, if you're facing problems in attaining the debt, loans, all that will be solved when Mars is in the 6th house. But you may have to go into a compromise. Why? Because 6th Lord is in 7th house, which is Saturn, and it is combust. Who is doing Saturn? Who is making Saturn go combust? You, your Ascendant Lord, which shows your dominating nature, your dominating power. But that is exactly what you have to avoid, because if you become too dominating, then Mars, instead of solving problems, will start creating problems. It will start creating enemies. See, if Mars wants a battlefield and you don't have a battlefield, Mars will create a battlefield so that it becomes victorious. When there is no enemy, what will Mars win? So ensure that you are being very diplomatic in nature, and if you are a diplomat or if you are into such kind of work ethics or work areas, it is going to be very good for you. This is the time when you have to understand the requirement of your team, of your subordinates, of your junior. It's a very good time for people who want to bring in investments for the startups, for the young business. Things will become very positive. You will be able to march in and you will be able to prove a point. You will be able to become more and more successful, especially if you are involved in the service industry. On the other hand, this is also a time when you will be able to win court cases. You will be able to win over your own negative emotions. So this is a transit which should be completely utilized to completely transform almost all areas of your life. So drastic decisions, bold decisions can be taken, smart decisions has to be taken, but you need to follow the path of Jupiter. You need a guiding light, you need a mentor. If you are firing in the dark, you won't reach anywhere. So on one side, you push yourself to your truest and maximum potential, but on the other side, take refuge in spirituality. Find a spiritual guru. If not, at least focus on Bhagavad Gita and make Bhagwan Krishna your guru. 6th house Mars with such a position is like Mahabharata. Mahabharata happened to eliminate the negativity. And sometimes you will have to take steps like Mahabharata. Now, from a family perspective, this might be a little challenging. Your attitude may be difficult for your partner to adjust to. Remember, your partner will also be experiencing Mars exaltation somewhere in the chart. That is why diplomacy is the best way. While you are being aggressive, you are trying your best and you are being to your fullest potential. Appreciate the people around you. Appreciate small. While building the Ram Setu, there was a squirrel, and the squirrel played its part. We humans are that squirrel, playing smaller parts in a bigger plan. We may not understand, but just through our devotion to Bhagwan Ram, we have to, do little things. That is how you should do. And also appreciate those who are playing little role, doing smaller things in your life. And if you do that, you will be blessed, not only by Mars, but also by Saturn. Praying to Hanuman, Hanumanji by chanting Bajrang Baan, Hanuman Chalisa is a brilliant thing to do here. Overall, it's a very positive and a very victorious transit. You will be winning over your competitors. You will be able to progress nicely. And you will also win over your health issues. But for everything, discipline is before anything. Virgo Ascendant. Now, in case of Virgo Ascendant, Mars rules your 8th house. So it is the karka of change in your life. Mars is also the 3rd house lord. 8th is also controlled by Mars. And if such a Mars goes in the 5th house, which is in Capricorn, it shows your expression, your aura will become very positive, and you will be very eager to bring changes in your life, especially in your career, in your source of income. You would also want to be with your friends, and you would also want to enjoy your life in a better way. Your expression will be very influential during this time. So if you are someone who uses your voice as your business model, like you are a voiceover artist, you are an influencer, you are into digital space, you are a speaker, you are into event management, then this is going to be a very good time for you. People who are involved into speculative business will see speculative gains. Gains in the real estate is possible, but don't rely on those gains. It is good to have a profit, but then book the profit and walk out of it. Unnecessary risk should be avoided because it is like unnecessarily putting yourself into problems. Focus on buying insurances, focus on securing your life and reducing your expenses. This is the Mars that will want you to be very productive. So you will be able to really manage your time well, and you will be able to figure out what's best for you at this particular moment. The only thing is that because of your ambition, because of your constant motion, movement, your constant struggle, this can take the charm away from relationship. This can take the charm away from you spending time with your loved ones, especially your children. And you are kind of more occupied in the work because Mars loves the battlefield. Now, 5th house is a very soft house. It's a house that is more connected to power, but a power that is for, like a king's power, where king has all the power but can't exercise at its own free will. Why? Because he has a responsibility on his shoulder of the entire kingdom. Similarly, when Mars goes in the 5th house, it wants to exercise power, but a lot of things will be just impossible. Don't get frustrated if you see impossible situations in your life. One good thing is that it can impact your physical health in a positive manner. You will rejuvenate, you will recuperate, you will be able to put yourself into healing. Holistic guidance will come your way. So overall, it's going to be a very positive and a very healthy transit. Especially if you are recovering from a long-term illness, then Mars can be a life giver here. You need to be careful with your sleep. You need to be very careful when you are dealing with your life partner. And especially if you are involved into any kind of extramarital affair, this can prove to be a disaster. Remember that, because Venus is also present along with Mars, and any misadventure will meet with strictest punishment from Saturn, because Sun and Saturn are together in the 6th house, and you cannot ignore this while you are evaluating Mars. Why? Because Sun rules your 12th house. Saturn rules your 6th house. Saturn is in fact the dispositor of Mars, the owner of Capricorn. So you cannot ignore that. So in spite, on one hand, this is going to be a very positive transit. On the other hand, you have to be very careful and follow the path of Dharma. And if you do that, you will get the maximum out of this Mars transit. Libra. Now in case of Libra ascendant, if you observe, Mars is your 2nd and 7th lord. So it basically controls all your personal life. Your marriage, your companionship, your family, your wealth, your values, your securities, everything is controlled by Mars. And if that Mars becomes exalt, it is in fact a very positive and very good transit. The only problem here is that this is Mars along with your ascendant lord Venus. Venus will move into Capricorn zodiac sign pretty soon. And now because Venus is entering the Capricorn zodiac sign, and by the middle of February when Sun will enter Aquarius, which is your 5th house, Mars and Venus combination is like your 1st house and 7th house is connected to the 4th house. Now one thing is that if you're a married individual, your family, your marriage can interfere. On one side, this can be a good thing because now your family is standing for you. Maybe you need them. Their involvement will solve the issue. Or this will create power struggle, problems between your spouse and your mother, some disharmony because of power struggle in the family. Maybe it is because of assets. Maybe it is because of inheritance, property dispute, something like that. Totally depends on your own personal horoscope. So if your Mars and 4th house is positive, this shows support from the family. If in your horoscope Mars and 4th house is negative, this means that there can be some interference coming from your family members which is unwanted. and that can create rift between you, your mother, your family. You will feel uncomfortable and you would feel this need to take control of the situation, but you won't be able to. Couples who are going for divorce and child custody will see tensions rising among them. It is better to sit together and resolve the issue as politely and as diplomatically as possible. Otherwise, this is going to be harmful for the child which is in concern. On the other hand, if you observe that in spite of Jupiter being in the 7th house, guidance will come to you, but you might not listen or follow those guidance. Be mindful that what you're doing should not create any ruckus. On the other hand, if you observe your 7th Lord, Mars is in the 4th house. It is very good for people who are involved in real estate sector, who are involved in manufacturing sector, ed-tech sector, who are into interior designing, tiling, beautification, energy products. You will see great boost in your career and business, and that is definitely going to be something positive. Now, this also means that you can start a new business with your family members. You can join your family business if you are young, and you might also feel anxiety during this time because you will be trying something for the first time, or you will be seeing situation for the first time. All you have to do is maintain patience. Otherwise, this will impact your health, especially health of your heart. Otherwise, exalted Mars will be aspecting your career, and your career will show great progress. Promotion is possible. If you do business, if you are in any kind of career, your reputation will be at stake. Be mindful of that. So you will be more concerned about the end result and what people will say. I won't say that is a problem. It is good to be aware of your actions, but don't make it take it to a point where you are being over-occupied by such thoughts, and it's instead of making you aware and careful, it is becoming a trauma. And if it's happening, you need to talk to somebody, your loved ones, your relatives, where you can politely communicate and resolve issues. Property wise and financial wise, you can create assets, you can build more assets, you can see that expenses related to your home will increase. It is an auspicious expense, so I won't say that it is a bad thing to do. If there is something to repair, do it now. Drive carefully, don't rush too hard, and if you're buying a red color car, maybe postpone for some time. Now, we also have to involve the role of Sun and Saturn, which is in the 5th house. Why? Because it is your 11th Lord connected with your 5th Lord as well as your 4th Lord. That means health of the mother can be a little bit of concern at this point of time. And the way you are going to deal with your marriage is also going to be a concern. Although from the business perspective, this can bring in new partnerships. People who are working from home will not be able to work, and you will need to maybe get out of your house and find an alternate workplace because of the chaos that will happen around that area of work where you are in your home. The energies might be too heavy to adjust to. Maintaining time will be difficult, so I will say at least try to maintain discipline with respect to your food and sleep. Finding comforts in your comfort zone is not the right attitude when Mars is in the 4th house. It means you have to build your comfort zone and slog. It is the time to work hard, really hard, so that you can build a brighter future. But if you're already an elderly person, if you have already accomplished a lot, this is the time to rejuvenate. This is the time to shed off that workload and maybe focus on internal energy rather than external manifestation. Meditation, going for a walk, going for rejuvenation, going for a spa, just breathing fresh air and feeling this air of independence is very much needed for you. Otherwise, you will feel choked and claustrophobic during this time. Overall, I will say it's a mixed result with respect to Mars transit in Capricorn, but at the end of the day, if you are humble, if you are following a linear approach, not an exponential growth, but a linear path, you will see You will see success, peace and balance in your life. Chant the mantra Om Angarkaya Namah or chant Mangal Stotra or Hanuman Chalisa to bring peace in your life. Scorpio. Now in case of Scorpio, if you observe, your ascendant lord and your sixth lord is Mars. And this Mars is getting exalted in the third house. Third house is the house whose Karka is Mangal. So Mars going in third house actually gives you a lot of confidence. It gives you the necessary boost to push yourself forward in the right direction. Combine it with Mars, combine it with the energies of Mercury, combine the third house with the energies of Sun and Venus. It shows a lot of creativity and a lot of initiatives that you will take in the near future. But you have to ensure that you are not causing a burnout, because Mars in the third house will increase the capacity and also increase the willpower. So you will be able to become very bold and take some drastic decisions in life. You should take life-changing decisions only when you know how your life will change after your decision. Because if you take it unplanned, if you take unnecessary risk, then you don't know where it will lead. Although on the positive sense, this is going to affect your career. See, when the third house has Mars, Mars will have 8th aspect on the 10th house, which means your own action will affect your job, your career, your reputation. So there is a very high chance that you will be able to pull yourself out from problems. But on the other hand, you have to observe that any kind of unwanted aggression will destroy your reputation. After all, 10th house is not facing a positive aspect of Mars, but a negative aspect of Mars. On the other hand, 6th house shows capacity to work, your capacity to move towards a better future. And Mars' 4th aspect falls in that house. Jupiter is there. This shows that you will have better control on yourself, your own body, your own diseases. You will be in a much better situation to take control on the loans, your financial investments, and the opportunities that this transit will give you, especially investing into real estate, land, agriculture, people involved into logistic business, packaging industry, food industry, energy sector will see something positive going your way. Again, I will repeat, it is also going to increase your anger. And remember, excess of anything is bad. You give too much, you will only lose. So you should know your limitations, and even if you have the capacity, that does not mean that you will be pushing your limits. If you are in a car, the capacity of that car may be to run up to 220 km per hour. But do you really push your car to that limit? I don't think so. The capacity is something different. The reality is something else. So the reality shows that you will have to be well within your capabilities, and maybe with 50% of efficiency, you will be able to achieve everything that you have targeted here. And overall, from the perspective of economic growth, from the perspective of career growth, it's going to be a very good transit. Your hard work, your dedication, your passion, your focus will be all-time high. But your confidence may be shaken when you will see the reality. That means you're trying something, but if you don't know the reality, if you have not planned anything, this will affect your confidence. So be careful there. Chanting Hanuman Chalisa, lighting a ghee diya in front of your mandir, doing basic meditation, grounding exercises, and also reading Vadvanala Stotra is going to be really, really helpful during this transit. This is a transit which will affect your entire body, your mind. Why? Because your ascendant lord is getting exalted. So you will be able to overcome any challenge or difficulties thrown towards you. This will help you win court cases. This will help you win over your enemies. But any action out of rage, revenge, is going to be extremely negative towards you. If you are planning a pilgrimage during this time, it is a very good planning that you can make. Do some donation and go into some short journeys. Maybe there will be a lot of travel. If you're stuck somewhere and you want to move, this transit will bring movements in life. So I will say this is as if your deflated tire is inflated because of this Mars energy. From the perspective of family life, this is going to be a transit where you will enjoy with your siblings. Third house is the house of siblings, your cousins, friends who are like brother. You may go on a trip. So it's more like a healthy transit. But the problem is that if you are taking too many things at your hand, if you're taking other people's responsibility, if you are interfering in people's life, trying to act as a mediator, then who will lose the energy? You. So try to ration your energy in a way that you are helping others also, but also helping yourself. Otherwise, this will direct your focus away from the family, and you will be like, sometimes you do things for your own pride because you will be appreciated there, and you will lose focus and track, and you will start putting your energy into the place where you are getting a feedback. It's like I am being hungry so that I fill the stomach of somebody who is actually not in need, but is showing that is in need. Now this is a place where the situation is little tricky, but I know you can manage if you are grounded, if you are thinking logically from the head, and you are not very, will not be on the adrenaline. So this is a perfect transit to reshape your life. So go for proper soul realignment. Hard work will pay off during this time. Students should be really focused. People involved in esports, when I say esports, I mean professional esports, will also see a lot of success during this time. Sagittarius. Now in case of Sagittarius, if you observe, Mars rules your 12th house and 5th house. Now 5th house means your education, your expression, love, romance. 5th house is about harmony, peace, and 5th house is also about Purva Punya. When the Lord of Purva Punya goes in the 2nd house, which is the house of Sanchat Karma, also the house of family, wealth, financial security, it really boosts your confidence and it gives you all the support coming from the family. You will see things moving in your own direction, in the positive direction, and it's a beautiful transit for you. You will gain from foreign investments, you will gain from foreign exchange, goods of export and import of goods and services. You will also see that your losses will convert into gains, and if the money is stuck, the money is coming back possibly. Yes, your horoscope matters, but at least the transit is promising. On the other hand, if somebody wants to return from a foreign country, who wants to relocate back to their home, this is possible. Maybe some auspicious activity happening at home is bringing you back and making you meet your relatives. Good time. You should do Havan, Puja, lot of donations, charity, because your wealth will increase, your value system will increase. The only thing is that 2nd house is a very Venusian house. It's more about security, stability, resources. It's not a house of war. So what's an exalted Mars doing there? Exalted Mars there would want you to secure your walls, be very defensive, protect yourself and the family, therefore buying insurance policies, maybe planning for retirement, thinking about buying a real estate so that which may act as a fail-safe. All that is possible during this time, and if you do that, you will be finding yourself in a very secured space. Professionally, it's a very good time, but the problem is that this is also a time where you will want to rebel. You would want to fight your own core values and you would want to redefine it. Question is that if you're fighting yourself, if you're fighting your family, or if you're fighting for that redefining the core values, what are you gaining out of that? That is extremely important. You have to think about that. Also, Mars aspect on the 5th house and 8th house shows that you can really gain from the speculative kind of investments. People doing stock market will see some boost during this time, and overall development will happen for Sagittarius natives. You should not forget one thing, that your ascendant Lord Jupiter is in the 5th house aspecting your ascendant, whereas Mars, 5th Lord, aspects the 5th house. This is the time to gather punya. It's a golden opportunity. You should do sadhana, mantra siddhi during this time. Lot of donations, help people around you. Your speech, your voice, your aura will be influential. So utilize this for the right cause. If possible, visit Jyotirlinga during this time. And always speak the truth. Your words will have profound impact. So be careful how you are speaking in front of your kids. Doesn't matter what the age of your child is. From the perspective of marriage, this is going to be a time where challenges will come in the life of your life partner. And because of that, you will have to take the lead, and you should ensure that you are being more stable, whereas when the changes happen in the life of your wife or your husband. On the other hand, food is one habit where you will have to be very, very careful. You have to be very mild on the food, spicy, non-vegetarian food, food high in calories, smoking, drinking, all that has to be avoided. A balanced approach, a holistic approach in life will not only give you a better lifestyle, but will also make you feel very happy and satisfied and content. Although the presence of Venus along with this Mars ensures that you might overspend, and you might sometimes overwork on the loans and create a lot of debts. Now that can be a big problem here, because if you start accumulating debt, you should be focused on the good debt and not on the bad debt. And remember one thing, it's also your 11th Lord Venus with Mars in the 2nd house, ensuring Mata Lakshmi's Kripa. So chanting Shri Suktam will be a really, really positive remedy here. On the other hand, if you observe, your Bhagya Lord Sun will be with Saturn from 13th of February, which means that there can be some challenges during your travel. There can be some challenges with your brother or sister, siblings. You would have all the resources at your hand, but something will stop you. Maybe you're not confident enough to take that first step. Now, initiatives must be taken, obviously carefully, but you will see that luck will support you. And sometimes you will be made to do certain things, and you will be surprised how did that in the first place happen in your life, and that will be a good surprise. So for Sagittarius, it's a beautiful transit. Only thing that you will have to be careful is when you're speaking, don't abuse, don't speak foul words. Be very careful, and if you have to speak, take the name of Bhagwan Ram and Bhagwan Hanuman. Capricorn. Now you see, in the case of Capricorn, it's a transit of power, it's a transit of self-confidence, it's a transit of self-identity. But you should not make it a transit of internal war. See, when Mars comes on ascendant, who really is Mars? It's the Lord of your 11th house and 4th house. So it kind of controls your comfort area, it kind of controls your happiness, joy, friendship, circle. So definitely this is going to help you from your network circle perspective, from the perspective of bringing people together. You will enjoy the company of your friends, maybe you can go for a trip. Everything is all right as long as you're not being too indulgent in your own happiness. Rather, this is the time to work on yourself. Mars is what? Mars is energy. Energy is interacting with your own body. So you need to get up and start working. People who are struggling from weight issues should hit the gym or do yoga. Metabolism should be kept high. Stress and anxiety will come, but you will have to manage it. That's a part and parcel. Whenever there is energy, there will be some shifting. So recalibration has to be done. The wiring of the brain should be altered. How? By focusing on good emotions, by giving the right stimulus to the brain through your 5 senses. Now, if you watch war, horror movies or action-packed movies while Mars is on the ascendant, it is only going to make you edgy. It is only going to make you focus more on hyperactivity. What it will do? It will burn out. It will cause a burnout and you will love to work, but what after that? What will happen after you burn your energy? Suddenly the drive will go down and you will feel lethargic. There can be muscular problem. There can be small accidents. Now, on the other hand, your ambition, your passion, your determination to become successful will be all-time high during this time. You have to make sure that you're making the best use of it by planning and executing your plans in a proper manner, although you will be pulled back by the availability of resources to execute your plan, and there will be some lack of resource. So better manage and do the work with what is at hand rather than imagining the resource to come in the first place. Start with what you have and things will come automatically. But if you wait for the resource, you won't be able to achieve anything. If you have a disciplined approach towards life, if you are more doing yoga, pranayam, especially hatha yoga during this time, you will be not only physically fit and mentally fit, but you will also be fit financially. After all, 4th and 11th house are 2 financial houses. Health of your mother can give you a little bit of trouble. There can be interference from people, unwanted interference from people you don't want, which can cause some conflict or war. Projection of power will be a common theme during this transit, so do not project that. Also, you will be too harsh on others. Maybe you are speaking facts, but while you are spitting facts, those facts may hurt someone. So be very polite and considerate while you are even showing your true worth. From the financial perspective, it's a very good transit. It's a transit where you will be able to manage your finance well, especially your real estate, your regular income, but you will also equally spend it on yourself. So think about that. Patience is extremely needed. Your emotional state, a balanced emotional state is extremely needed to manage the Mars on the ascendant. Although a secure and stable environment at home is prerequisite for this Mars to function well, and in case you don't have it, ensure that you are doing your best and leaving the rest up to God. Now Mars from the first house will aspect directly to the 7th house. 7th house is the house of marriage. So naturally this is going to dominate the 7th house, which means you might impose your thought process on others or on the spouse. Your expectations might interfere. You might have a lot of expectation from yourself and your partner. See, Saturn is going to lock this Mars and slow it down. Imagine like this. You have Ferrari, but you are in the traffic of, say, Bangalore. Doesn't matter whether you are in an auto or in a Ferrari. The car in front of you must move ahead so that you get some freeway and you then press the accelerator and move forward. But if there is a block in the front, doesn't matter whether you are in a bus, train, plane, Ferrari or a auto rickshaw, you won't be able to move. Rather, if you enjoy where you are, then you will be able to be happy in whatever condition you are in. Overall, it's a beautiful transit. It's a transit of power. But the question is, how will you harness the power? It is through discipline, through Hanuman Chalisa, by praying to Bhagavan Hanuman, and by being strict on yourself, yet enjoying the life. But don't be too dominating towards your life partner, otherwise this will cause problems, sometimes separation and divorce. Aquarius. Now for Aquarius, if you observe, Mars rules your 3rd house and Mars rules your 10th house. A very important planet. It rules your efforts, it rules your karma, it rules your reputation, your career, your initiatives, your core strength. This Mars getting exalted is a blessing in disguise for you. It's a great time to leave something behind, break old patterns, break old habits. Something that was impossible will happen. Now it will make impossible possible. You have to ensure that you are making the positive impossible possible, not the negative impossible possible. So your energy expenses should be monitored carefully. This will also bring a lot of lethargy on the body, whereas your body will want to go for a rest, but your circumstances will push you to work. See, when third house Lord goes in the 12th house, this also can initiate travel to a different location, maybe shifting home, maybe shifting property, maybe shifting country, or simply traveling for work related purposes. Expenses will be on the higher side and you won't realize when you have crossed the threshold. So keep some buffer with you. Because 10th Lord is coming in the 12th house and it is getting exalted, career changes are possible, but be very careful while you are making any change. Any planet in the 12th house will have a cost. You will feel a bit lonely at this point of time. This is also going to possibly create separation. Problems with your siblings, especially your brother, might happen during this time. So you need to be watchful. Now why? Because Sun and Saturn will be on the first house. Your ascendant Lord will be made combust. That means circumstances will overshadow you. Circumstances will overpower you. And you will have this kind of an emotion where you will feel the need to do something or need to get out from somewhere, but maybe you're not ready for it. You're not, accepting enough. You will be facing some resistance. You need to show a lot of maturity, flexibility, and you should be ready for sacrifice. Now, from the perspective of finances, this shows that you have to go for long-term financial management. You should go for long-term investments. Otherwise, short-term market management can not only take away your mental peace, but can also give you financial losses. In fact, when Mars is too powerful in the 12th house, life will try to bring you major changes, but life has its own way. You won't be able to execute any change. Life will give you that change. So you should just ride the boat, go with the flow, and not exercise your power here. 12th house Mars will also give you an opportunity to forget the past, to move on. So if you're stuck in a bad relation, if you're stuck in the past, if you're facing that problem, this is the right time to move on and follow the path of peace and harmony. To give up something, it is the best time. You want to give up a particular habit, this is the best time. But the problem is, because Mars is in the 12th house, it wants to defend with all its might and force, and that is the problem. On one side, you should let go the energy, but on the other side, you are becoming too stubborn to block that movement. So if you are blocking something in life that life wants to happen, you won't be able to block, rather it is going to blow you away. So that is why you just need to keep things like business as usual and not interfere in the process, and just let it be. Do not add any more variables, whether it is personal life or professional life. Obviously, investment goes out of question, any short-term investment. Speculative investment goes out of question. This is the time where marriage can be hit. You can fight with your life partner. Mars in the 12th house aspecting the 7th Lord Sun, making your Lagna Lord go ascendant. It is a power struggle. And in this power struggle, you need to be as peaceful, diplomatic and polite as possible. And then you will see that Mars will ultimately give you a lot of success. Otherwise, you will end up losing key opportunities. You will end up losing key relationships. It will increase stress and will hurt your health. So you need to do a lot of exercise, maintain a proper lifestyle, and pray to Ma Bhagavati by chanting Mahishasur Mardini Stotra. Sleep nicely, focus on rejuvenation rather than a lot of burnout. It is a transit where you can leave the negative behind and focus more on the positive. Take it like a recharge. So go for a trip, go for rejuvenation, go for yoga, go for therapies, go for energy healing. You can buy lots of rose quartz crystal and keep it with you. Focus on your Mooladhara chakra so that you can fight your fears, because fear is going to now become very prominent. It will surface up, and something when it surfaces up can be discarded easily if it is not needed. Think about it. Pisces. Now in case of Pisces, if you observe, Mars rules your second house and Mars rules your ninth house. Very positive combination of energies. Something that controls your value system, something that controls your dharma. So Mars is like that, it's the spine of your life. And such Mars goes in the 11th house. It not only brings culture, tradition, but it also makes you fight for the right cause, and it gives you the right amount of support coming from your network circle. Second Lord coming in the 11th house also shows expansion of wealth. And remember, Mars is exalt. Your productivity will increase, and it is going to be exceptionally good for people involved in business. Now remember, 9th Lord is also going in the 11th house and it is getting exalted. So Bhagya is also going to support you. Support may come from father, from guru. You may go for spiritual travel. You will gain lot through travel. People involved in transport business, logistics business, packaging business, energy sector, transportation will become successful during this time. Your career, your ambition, your efforts towards your career will become fruitful. So it's more like a transit that will be giving in nature, not taking in nature. Now, involve Venus there, involve Sun there. What it is going to prepare a strategy in your mind where you would want to restrict your losses, restrict your expenses, and push towards profit, growth, and increase the margin in your business. So, it is good. Mars also aspects your second, 5th and 6th house. Now because Mars aspects 6th house, it is going to cut down on your loans. You will be having extra income and you will be able to repay back your loans and reduce that burden and become peaceful. It increases your connection with your children and you will be able to do things for them and for your family. So this is very satisfying transit for Pisces ascendant and moon sign natives. From professional to personal, this is an overall development. On the personal side, this is more like enjoying with your colleagues, going into social parties, making network, possible new engagements, finding new business partner, you having good time with your family. So overall, it's more like enjoyment. And this is also going to make you achieve some personal milestones. Henceforth, you need to focus more on gaining rather than spending. Reduce your expense and increase your income during this time. Now, because you will be very vocal during this time, this can sometimes create drama kind of situation in life. And although you will become victorious, but this can slightly hurt your reputation, especially when Sun will move to the 12th house. From 13th February, Sun will be in the 12th house, and while Sun is in the 12th house, Sun which is the 6th Lord, it will start impacting Saturn. Saturn will go combust, which means that sometimes you can lose the track of what you can gain or what you can lose. And this is where this Mars can play a negative role. You should know the cost of your happiness. You should know the cost of your gain. Everything comes at a cost. Sometimes you pay back through money or sometimes through energy or time or even life. You must realize that cost and you should work accordingly. But otherwise, it's an excellent transit. Your energy level will be all-time high and you will be very active. Your aura will be very active and influential during this time. Use this influence wisely so that you are becoming a positive influence. And if you are an influencer, if you are a celebrity, if you are into media, then this is going to, make you more famous, and therefore either it can create controversy because things can now spread like wildfire, or this can give you an opportunity where you can change the society, where you can do good for other people. Now, going for a satsang, going to Hanuman temple, fasting on Tuesdays, and avoiding non-vegetarian food, partying hard but not partying through drinks and alcohol and other things, are some of the ways by which you can make this Mars really, really positive, and Mars will be really happy. Remember, this is the time when you will follow your passion and fight for your cause. Make sure that your cause is global, and not only it benefits you but also the mankind.